Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending today's live discussion of the Boston Bruins Town Hall Series featuring Bruins winger Brad Marchand. I'm Eric Russo, digital reporter for the Boston Bruins, here alongside Sports Hub radio analyst Bob Beers to moderate today's discussion. We're missing hockey just as much as you are, but we hope you and your family are staying safe and healthy during this difficult time. Joining us in attendance today are Boston Garden Society members from the Lofts, Absolute Lounge, Heineken Green Room, Club Seating, and the Sports Deck. We thank you for your continued support of the Boston Bruins. We will begin shortly, but first I'd like to point out that the chat button and raise hand button on your screen are unavailable today. However, you can participate by submitting a question to Marshy by clicking the Q&A button. So with that, Marshy, I think you have a couple of shout outs to start out.
Yeah, I want to thank Rachel Gogan, Sports Deck member for 10 years. Who just re-signed for another 5. And lastly, a big hello and shout out to Elsa Molinari from North Attleboro. She's a huge 13-year-old fan. So I want to thank her dad, Tom, and her for being a member. Also want to say happy birthday to Anthony Clark, longtime boardroom member. And welcome to Keegan Caldwell, the newest member of the boardroom. Also a shout out to Shane Brait. Heard you had a good year playing hockey at Marshfield High. Sorry you're missing out on your senior year festivities, but hopefully we can get back to normalcy soon.
Marshy, good to see you. This is not the way we want to see you, obviously. Wish we were seeing you in the playoffs right now. But for you and your family, unprecedented times. Are they chirping you yet? Do they want you out of the house? How's things been going?
First off, good to see you. Always a treat to see that handsome face. It's been a little different. Obviously, it's a huge change for everyone. But I think personally, I'm trying to make the most of the time at home that we rarely get. It's been, I don't think we've ever had this much alone time as a family. Even during the summers and on days off and stuff, we have a lot of family and friends and people that we tend to see. So it's been a big change just having our family home together and we can't change what's going on. So trying to make the most of it and enjoy that. So it's been a nice little change, but obviously, we'd love to be back on the ice right now.
Great. So we got a lot of questions coming in already. A couple relating to this pause, Marshy. Luke Fox wants to know, considering how well the team had been playing and the difficulty of returning with the same group in a salary cap world, how would it feel to not be able to come back and finish this season?
It'd be very upsetting to not be able to see, how it would have played out. We did have we had a really good team and we had a good opportunity, but the toughest part is that years like this don't come around very often. I mean, it's taken us a long time to build to where we are now, and to be the team we are. And, we would have loved to have seen how that would play out and the opportunity we had. But there's a lot of teams in that same position right now. There's a lot of good teams that were contenders this year. But, on the flip side, there's much bigger things at stake here. So, it's very unfortunate what's going on and the opportunity that could potentially be lost. But I think we're all more concerned about people's lives that are at stake right now.
And just playing off that a little bit, Richard Lannon wants to know, if you were to return and have to play without fans, what would that be like for the players?
It'd be different. I think that's it would be like a practice, really. That's kind of the way it would feel. One of the most exciting things about the game is having the fans there and the support and the energy and the momentum swings that they can create. It would be much different. I don't even know if logistically it makes sense to play without fans because of the costs involved. I don't know how that stuff all works, but it would be a much different feel. But if that's what it takes and that's what it takes for us to get back on the ice and to play, we just want to get on the ice and play. So hopefully, they can find a way to make that happen. If it's without fans, then it's without fans. But again, we just want a shot to get that cup
Archie, we've talked to different players who have different ways of trying to stay in shape right now, right? Whether it's, a gym in the basement or whether it's the Peloton bikes that we've heard about. What are you doing to try to stay in shape and try to stay sharp?
Yeah, it's tough. I a lot of guys live in condos. A lot of the condominium gyms are shut down. Very few guys have enough space to put gym in their house. So a lot of us are confined to jogging and sprinting. I've taken the approach that I've put the work in. So now I'm just going to rest for the next 4 or 5 months and catch up on some rest. But no, I was fortunate enough to take a little bit of gym equipment, and I had my trainer send me some stuff to do. So it's tough to really kind of manage this because we have to be in, peak physical condition if we're going to start up again. But we don't know how long that is. And depending on how much time we have to train, you want to do certain things and train a certain way. But obviously nobody has that feedback right now. So we're just trying to do stuff to stay active, stay moving, keep the conditioning level up as best we can. But the toughest thing is that it doesn't matter what you do off the ice. You can run, you can bike, but nothing will really simulates the workout that you get on the ice. You can't duplicate it. You can't replicate it. It's completely different. So it doesn't matter who does what in this, this break. We're all going to feel awful coming back. We're all going to be bad. It's going to take a while to get it back. So that's probably the biggest concern with this whole thing anyway, is that if you take guys that have been off, that have had very limited opportunity to work out and to train and haven't skated in months, you can't just throw them back into games in a week. Everybody's going to get hurt. So, there's going to be some kind of a ramp up period, and it's going to be really, really ugly for the first few games. So it'd be nice to be able to get a couple games in before playoffs start. Otherwise, it's really a free for all.
Switching gears a little bit here, Bianca McDonald has a question talking about 2011. A lot of those games have been airing on NESN. I know fans are enjoying reliving those. Bianca wants to know, do you have any funny or memorable stories from the celebration of the 2011 Cup win?
Yeah, I know that's a big thing that's been kind of going on. It's fun to hear about. I know a lot of the guys have been on, kind of be involved with each game that's been played. There's a lot of great memories. That the whole celebration afterwards is a bit of a blur. It was such a whirlwind from the travel back and everything that was kind of going on, and the change of circumstance that happened so quick. But it was just I think immediately after the game with in the dressing room, that was just such a unique experience. You see pictures of it and stuff, when, after every finals, and it looks so much fun, and you can't explain kind of what's happened in that room and the excitement and how proud everybody is, all the emotions that are kind of running through everybody, and, mothers, sisters, brothers, grandparents are all getting absolutely showered with champagne and covered in cigar smoke, and everyone's hugging, and it's pretty incredible.
And Jonathan Ketchum wants to know, have you been in touch with Bergy? So maybe expanding on that a little bit, have you talked to Bergy, and have you been talking to the guys at all?
Yeah, everyone kind of stays in touch. We also have a group chat that we fire back and forth in. But yeah, obviously Bergy and I have been in touch. Something that I'm sure will always happen, and we check in every now and again and kind of chat about what's going on. There's a lot of different things that we got to go over and talk about, and yeah, we're definitely in touch.
Marchand, expand on Bergy for a second. You've been with him for so long, teammates for so long, on the same line. You ever get to the bench and chirp him and say, hey, get me the puck there? I'm open. How come you didn't see me? Yeah. I'm sure it happens with other players from time to time, but has it ever happened with Bergy?
It's I absolutely would never. I don't bite the hand that feeds me. I'm a little smarter than that. I think the most we've ever gotten into it is when Past and I are getting into it, and Bergy's got to yell at both of us to stop yelling at each other. But we talk literally after every shift. We'll talk about something. I don't ever have to tell him to get me a puck because he's always getting us the puck. But we also, it's kind of to the point now where we know when we miss a pass to one another. We may not see it right away, but we normally see the guy as he's passing by. We're like, oh man, okay, I missed that guy back door or whatever it may be. So we'll get back to the bench and he'll be like, hey, were you there? And I'll be like, yeah, or no, I wasn't. And we have that kind of communication. So, it's just at that point now where we know if we had an opportunity to make a play and we missed it, and then, by the time we saw it was too late or whatnot. And we talk about how that opening occurred and where maybe we might be able to do it again. So there's always communication back and forth like that, but I would never start an argument with Bergy, or yell at him for something like that. But he said he gives me a couple times.
Maybe building off that a little bit, Marshy, Linda Koenig wants to know who besides your current teammates has been your favorite player to play with over the years?
We've had a lot of really good teammates. I think I got to go back to 2011. That team and the relationships that were built there were probably my favorite. We still have a lot of really good friends from that year. So, I don't think I could pick one guy specifically. Obviously, guys like Quater and Kells and Soupy, like guys like Thordy, Boyd, Sides, all those Tubes, obviously Bergy, like we all play together now, but guys that aren't there anymore, like I can't pick one. They're all great guys like Pevs and, I know I'm missing other guys with blanking right now, but like Andy Ferentz, like guys that we all stay in contact with. It's just those relationships are so strong because of what we all went through together. And once we get back together, it's like nothing ever changed. Luch, obviously Luch is, an awesome guy and love playing with him. So there's so many guys. I could never just pick one.
Great. Stephen Gallion wants to know, sort of going back to what you were talking about earlier, should the season start? You talked about the difficulties there may be, but is there a way that it might help with some rest, or how do you think that would sort of work out? Would it help or hurt this long layoff?
I don't think it's going to help. The only guys it's going to help is, teams that have had injuries, significant injuries, especially to big players. You look at Stamkos, who was hurt, and guys like that now have the time to regroup and get back healthy again. But it's not going to help any team that was playing well at that time. Maybe a few days might have, but when you take a month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever it's going to be, it's going to hurt everyone, like I said, especially the fact that we can't skate and we can't keep our conditioning level up or our skills going. It's going to hurt everybody in the league. Everybody's going to be sloppy when they come back, and I honestly think that the teams that are going to come back and look good are the really young teams like Toronto or Tampa, just really high end skilled teams. Because they're going to have the legs and you'll be able to get it back quick. But older teams are really going to struggle.
Marshy, as you look at your career, and I know you started a long way to go, but from an individual standpoint, take the team aside for a second. From an individual standpoint, what are you most proud of so far?
That's a tough question. There's so many different things and that I never even thought about before coming in the NHL. And I think that's one thing that I always kind of go back to is growing up. I never looked at, specifically what I wanted to accomplish in the NHL. It was just, I wanted to play in the NHL. I don't think I ever sat there and said, I want to play first line, or, I want to score 20, 30 goals, or I want to play penalty killer, power play. It didn't have anything to do with that. I wanted to be in the league. And so it kind of took a lot of, goal setting after making it here. Obviously, I think winning a cup will always be the top thing. But one of the things I think I'm most proud of is being part of the World Cup team with Canada. That's just it kind of, I feel, put me on a different level, a different caliber of player. Before that, I never really thought I could play with guys that were on that team. I never put myself on the same category as anybody on that team. And then kind of coming out of that, I felt a lot more confident about my abilities in my game and where I could play in the league. And I just kind of elevated from there. So I was really proud to be part of that team because it's truly a huge honor to play for any Canadian team. And I really set some big goals to make that team. And, so I was very, very proud about that.
Talking about your career a little bit more, Marshy, John Hunt wants to know, is there a goal that stands out that marks your favorite goal from over the years?
First one was a huge relief for me. It took me a long time to get that first one. So that was big. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. So that, I think you're scoring your first NHL goal is always, a big memory. But scoring a goal in the Cup Finals or in Game 7, that's one that I'll never forget.
And Franklin Kozal wants to know, if you were not playing in the NHL, what would your job have been?
My family has a construction development company back home, so I would have been involved in that. That's what I most likely would have done. Growing up, I always wanted to be a police officer as well. That was something that always piqued my interest. But as of late, I think thinking outside the box a little bit, I think I would have been in the hunting industry in one way or another. That's kind of my passion outside of hockey. So I probably would have been involved in guiding or outfitting or something like that.
Matthew Driscoll, he wants to know, if there was a 3-on-3 tournament with everyone in the league, who would you pick to be on your line, and would they be from other teams?
I'd have to go with Bergy and Pasta. I just, I think that I'd put the three of us up against a lot of duos or a lot of 3-on-3 combos in the league. So, and they're my boys, so I got to take them.
Claudia Arthur wants to know, with the Bruins being in first place, if the season was not to resume, would you accept the Stanley Cup, or would that not be fair?
I mixed feelings. Obviously, it's one, you go through the playoffs to win a cup, but I mean, we've earned the first place throughout the year. We've competed hard, and we've shown that all year that we're a top team. So I'm mixed. I don't think I could answer that, but it'd be hard to turn that trophy down in any situation. But at the same time, you want to earn it. So I don't know what I would do in that situation. Maybe take a couple drinks out of it and pass it back.
Marcia, I know that players are always trying to improve their game, whatever aspect it might be, from year to year, even from day to day. Where do you try to improve your game right now, and how has your game improved throughout your career?
Well, I think that's the biggest thing is you look at a lot of the guys that are continually successful through this league, throughout their career, and to have the longevity, they're finding ways to adapt, to grow with the game, and especially now where you have to be able to skate. I mean, that's the biggest thing is you have to have your conditioning level up, and you got to be able to skate. If you can't, you have no shot. So that's been something that I've really worked on a lot the last few years was, trying to get my conditioning level up to an even bigger level or a higher level. Worked on my skating a bit. At this point, I feel like it's a bit of a lost cause. I can't change much of that now. But it's changed a lot over the years. I mean, early on, I just was trying to make the team and come in, do anything. So I started kind of being an agitator, and then, that was kind of getting old. And, there was a ceiling for that. So then, coaches and everybody worked with me a lot on becoming a better player. And I spent a lot of time trying to do that, just see what different guys did in the league and try to pick some things that I felt like I could incorporate into my game that could make a difference, and then try to get away from some other things. And now it's, I used to be more of a scorer. That was kind of what I did. I was more of a shooter, and now I've been blessed to play with a couple shooters. So now I feel like I'm trying to work more on my passing. My sauce pass is not very good at all. So you got me. So my sauce pass is not very good at all. So I've been trying to work on that quite a bit recently. Just things like that. Power play was the big one that I had to improve upon. I didn't play power play the first while coming to the league. So try to watch a lot of film, learn how to play the net front. And now I'm playing half wall. So Tori works with me a lot on that, how to move around and try to not be stagnant on the half wall, because that's what I kind of get stuck doing at times. So there's always something you can improve on. You're never going to be great in every area. And what guys tend to do is work on the things that they're good at and not what they're bad at. So I just try to work on some things that I feel I need tweaking. And, if I see other guys are good at things, I try to maybe work some of that into my game. Like even young guys that come in now are so talented. I was watching Bjork this year, the way that he's got a couple moves that I've tried to incorporate into my game that were really difficult for me to do, but he makes it look so effortless. So I've been working on some things like that. And it's more just trying to find new things that defensemen can't always, learn what you're doing, and they don't get used to it. You're always kind of keeping them guessing. So there's so many different things you can do, but it's really kind of comes down to how much work you want to put in.
Marshy,
long-winded answer. Sorry about that. Espresso.
Marshy, Lily Caruso has a question for you. She's 4.5. She has a poster of you in her room and a puck that you gave her at a game, and she wants to know, did you skate with a crate when you were little and learning how to skate?
Yes, I did skate with a crate. I skated with a crate. I skated with a pylon. I skated with a chair. I would skate with anything that was put in front of me. When you're starting out, you need that extra help for your balance, and that can help a lot. So great job, and trying to learn how to skate and keep working hard, and maybe we'll be playing together one day soon.
Another question from one of our younger members of the audience here. She's 6 years old, wants to know, what TV shows or movies have you been watching to pass the time?
I don't get to pick my TV shows or movies anymore. I've been watching a lot of my kids' shows. We are currently watching a lot of Polar Express. My daughter loves that one. Polar Express, the new Grinch movie, Cat in the Hat. Those are some that we've been watching. And then there's a couple others that I don't know the name of, but I really just put the TV on for them and try to stop them from yelling at me.
And Chip Kitchen wants to know, who's the toughest defenseman you've had to play against in your career?
I've been asked that before, and I don't really know specifically who's the toughest, but Seth Jones is really difficult to play against. I find him very hard to play against. He's very fast. He's tall. He covers a lot of space. He's not overly physical, but he creates enough contact to separate you from the puck. And he's very skilled and talented. So, I mean, he can skate right by you on the forecheck. He can, he's got the patience to look you off. And he's really good on the offensive blue line. So I really like Seth Jones' game. I think he's a great player.
Marchand, just building on that, he's a right defenseman, right? You go down that left wing side a lot. Just to get a little technical for a second, you've got that great move, that little slide move from outside in. What do you look for from a defenseman and what he does? Say, okay, now I can try to drag that puck in front of him to slip around him on the inside.
The first thing is I tried to get his body lined up with my body. If I can get his body in front of me, then I know that if I get the puck by him to the inside, then I'm going to have a chance to slip around him. But if I'm coming down the wall and he's still inside of me, it's a lot more difficult, because even if I pull that puck, I'm just pulling my body into his body. So first thing I look at is trying to get his body as close to me as I can. And then the second thing is, as soon as I look for him to move his stick, a lot of defensemen will keep it out, try to force you down the wall. As soon as he pulls it to the wall or tries to pull it to my puck, or he turns his body to me, then I'm pulling inside. So I'm kind of waiting for him to make the first move. So I'm trying to line my body up with him, and then as soon as I see a crossover or his stick come inside, that's when I know that all I need is one step and I'm going to get inside, and then I just have to try to make the first move. So that's kind of what I'm looking for in that situation.
Marsha, Peter Glore wants to know, are you proud that you were recently ranked best trash talker in the league?
Yeah, I think I don't really trash talk anymore. I might have caught a couple guys, some good ones back in the day, but there's not that much trash talk anymore. The game's changed a lot. There's too many microphones. Guys are worried about what could get said or could get caught on camera. The refs are as well. So they're on top of you as soon as you start chirping. They're threatening 10-minute penalties and stuff like that, and it's just not worth it to get in the guy's ear. And then also, it's just not the generation anymore. Like when I first came to the league, everybody would chirp you. Like, you did not want to line up by the other team's bench. You'd wait till the last second to get there, because you'd have everybody yelling at you, squirting you with water, whatever. And now you can sit there and nobody will say a thing. So it's just changed. So it's not really something I'm overly interested in doing anymore.
Good time for a couple more here. Lucas Bartlett wants to know, do you have a favorite moment from the season so far?
Favorite moment from the season? I don't know. I don't know if there's any games that really stick out for me. But I think we've had a couple times, I think more off the ice, we've had a couple days together or times together that have, been very memorable. I think when Pasta got the 4 goals against Anaheim, that was pretty cool game. It doesn't happen often, and that was pretty fun to see. And I love when Pasta does well. He's such a energetic kid and so much fun to be around. So that was one of my favorite times this year. I'm sure I'm forgetting about some that I can't think of right now, but that's what I got.
And Sam DiGiando wants to know, who is your favorite player growing up?
I had a couple. Martin St. Louis was my favorite because he was he worked so hard. I think he was a smaller guy, but his work ethic was something that I admired. His road coming up and his path to make it was very difficult, and he was very driven. And then I got to meet him a couple times, played against him, and he's just such an awesome guy off the ice, and I have so much more respect for him after meeting him, and just kind of learning how hard he worked and talking to guys that train with him. I have a ton of respect for him, but then I also really like Joe Sakic. I thought that he was very talented, but I loved the way he could shoot a puck. He was so gifted, and same thing. I heard that he would work out on game day and squat 4 plates and stuff like that. And I respected guys that put that kind of work in. So those 2 guys I really admired.
And I think we'll close out with this one from Mark. He's 13 years old. He's trying to make it to the NHL. He wants to know, what does it take?
Well, Mark, I wish I had a specific answer for that, but a lot goes into it. But I think the biggest thing is the commitment that you have to have. And the one way that I kind of looked at it growing up was You have to love it more than anything. You know, you have to love the game, because you're going to have to put so much more work in to get to this level than anybody else. And the way I always kind of looked at it growing up was I have to find ways to do things that other guys aren't doing. You know, it just little things at home. It could just be extra little workouts, or stick handling longer, or shooting more pucks. But it's just, you have to stay driven. You have to stay committed. You have to believe in yourself. I think that's the biggest thing, because there's always going to be setbacks. A lot of people are going to try to knock you down, because everybody is jealous of where you're going to be and the success you're going to have. They're also trying to compete for that same spot that you're competing for. So you have to be confident in your ability and stay positive. And when bad things happen, or, you know, you don't make a team, or, you know, if you get hurt, you're going to stay positive and know that you're going to come out of it and be stronger, and mentally stick with it. Eventually you're going to get your break, and you just have to make the most of it. So keep working hard and be committed, and don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat the process. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Be humble. You know, there's a lot of things that go into it that you learn along the way. I wish I knew more, and I wish I learned more when I was younger, because it would have helped me a lot in the process. But be grateful for the opportunity. I think that's one thing we can take out of what's going on right now is we're all very lucky, and there's a lot more to life than what, you know, we may have been kind of accustomed to before. So don't take it for granted. Earn everything, and good luck.
Great stuff. Thank you, Marshy. We appreciate you taking the time. Thank you, Bergy. And we thank all of you for joining us today. We hope you stay safe and stay healthy. And we can't wait to see all of you around the rink again soon.